Hi Scorpio, welcome to April. This is Teresa from Tarot by T. And before I start your reading, I want to call in some good energy and create some sacred space around this reading. Okay, so this month we have a new moon in Aries on the 11th. Mercury moves into Aries on the 5th of April. Venus moves into Taurus and your 7th house of partnerships on the 15th of April. And then Mars moves into Cancer. And then we have a full moon in your sign on April 26th. And the next day, your ruling planet Pluto goes retrograde. So, we'll talk about the astrology in a while. Let's see what the cards say for Scorpio for relationships. What does Scorpio need to know about relationships for the month of April 2021? What is coming in for Scorpio this month? What does Scorpio need to know about love and relationships? What does Scorpio need to know about love and relationships? For April 2021. Okay, let's see what we get. The Six of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles. The Fool. The Death card. The Nine of Cups. The Moon. The Devil. Five of Wands, the 10 of Wands, and the 2 of Cups. Wow, this is a crazy reading. And the 8 of Cups. So we have mixed energies here, but it's good. It ends good. All right, so you start the month out with the 6 of Pentacles. This is a card of an imbalance in the give and take in a relationship. So one of you might be doing all the giving, doing all the work, and you feel like the other person isn't really contributing, you know. Like if you might be feeling like I'm the only one who cares about this relationship, I'm putting all the energy in, or I'm spending all the money, I'm paying for everything. Because sometimes this has a financial aspect when, you know, you have the money, the other person doesn't. So you just feel like there's not enough give and take, that you're, you know, even though you don't mind helping people less fortunate, you want to have some reciprocation. And so the Page of Pentacles crosses this. So the Page of Pentacles is about being open to the new. So maybe this has been the pattern, you know, you giving, giving, giving. But now you're wanting to, I feel like you're transitioning toward a new way of being, because you have the Page, which can be a new relationship just blossoming with an earth sign possibly, or someone who's, you know, you're kind of like feeling more grounded. You're wanting something more stable, and you're open to it. You're kind of like, you know, I know I have to do something about this imbalance, but in the meantime, I'm looking around to see what else is out there. The Fool is here. This is like turning the page and starting a new cycle. You have the 8 of Cups, which is about walking away from something, leaving something behind, and moving toward, because you want a more fulfilling partnership. You don't want to keep giving, giving, giving to something that's not returning your love or your care or whatever effort you're making. So you're ready for a brand new cycle to come in with the Fool. And you even have the Death card, which is about endings and new beginnings. It's about transformation. So you are changing on deep levels in relationship this month. I feel like especially around that full moon in Scorpio, I think that that's going to be a turning point for you. With the Death card, it's about looking at the past and where we've been. Past loves, past patterns, past relationships, and letting it go. You know, sometimes Scorpio has a tendency to hold on to the past because you just can't forget. You know, Scorpio, you know how people say, I can forgive, but I can't forget. You're holding on to that past, and it's stopping you from moving on to a new cycle. So before you can move into something new, you have to release the old. And that's what the death is telling you to do. It's telling you, you've come to a certain stage in your life. And yeah, we've all had our gains, our losses, relationships, Death is kind of like saying, okay, this season is ending. This part of your life is over. So it's time to, bless it for whatever it taught you. Release it and say, okay, I'm ready for the new. Because you have this Fool here. This is about moving into a new cycle, a new you, leaving something behind that was, and maybe it was once beautiful. Maybe you might be walking away from a relationship, or just walking away from the past that meant something to you at one time in your life, but now you're a new person. You're on this new path. The Fool is like being on a brand new path. And the Death card, this is something it has influenced you. You had been holding on to the past, or you have gone through some endings in the recent past where you decided to maybe walk away or leave something, close the door on an old way of life. And now you're moving into the future. And here you have the Nine of Cups, which is a wish fulfillment card. And so that's just starting to form. I think that you still have some things to work on, but you're already starting. This is like the inklings of the new coming in. You have the Moon card here. So the Moon card, so you might be kind of confused, or there are things that you can't see clearly right now. Sometimes the Moon can represent questioning, if you're dating someone, can I trust this person? Am I, is this person interested in me? Am I seeing things clearly? Do I really, do I have a realistic view of the situation? Because you might be, sometimes with the Moon, you could be blowing things out of proportion. Sometimes, your magic, because this is a card of imagination. And sometimes you could be seeing what's not there, or seeing like the best side of something or the worst side of something, but it's not the reality, because the Moon is about, obscurity, like being in a fog. And especially because we've had Mercury in Pisces, and Mercury's had conjunct Neptune, it's about not thinking clearly, not seeing clearly, but you're coming out of that. So you might be questioning whatever you're getting into, like being more cautious because of what you've gone through in the past. Like, can I trust this person? Are they being honest with me? And you have the Devil card here in your fear sector, which is a card of, the Devil can represent fear. Fear of maybe repeating the past or past patterns. Fear of becoming too overwhelmed with someone, like being trapped. Because sometimes the Devil can mean a partnership where you're just so attracted to the person you can't break free, or someone has a hold on you. You could have been involved with a partner that had some kind of drinking or drug problem in the past. And so there's some fears, there's some valid fears. With the Moon, you want to make sure that if you meet someone new, that you're seeing them for who they are and not who you want them to be. Because we can do that with the Moon. We can put, a positive slant on someone, or be overly idealistic about a relationship when we don't really even know the person. Now you have the Five of Wands in your environment. That's about conflict and competition. You could be working with someone. It's about two people not seeing eye to eye. So maybe you're leaving a relationship where there's a lot of conflict, or where you feel like, I can't work with this person. I can't, I'm trying to compromise, but we're just having petty fights over nothing, And you have this Ten of Wands, which is about carrying a heavy burden. So I feel like you're carrying the weight of a relationship, and you're doing all the work, and then you're fighting on top of it, because you know why? When you give too much and the other person's not giving, it creates resentment. And then you're like, here I'm doing this for you, I'm doing that for you, and then you get angry, and it comes out in subtle ways. You might even be dealing with someone with this Moon and the Devil that has some mental issues, and that's why you're having this conflict. But the good thing about the Ten of Wands is you're coming to the end of this. And you're coming to the end of this. I feel like once you make the decision, like I want to move out of this energy, I want to move into something brand new, you're going to be able to put down the burden. You're going to say, you know what, I'm not going to be involved in a relationship that's not giving to me, where if I'm doing all the work, then I'm just going to let go and stop, and I'm just going to go and find someone, the Two of Cups, that can give back. This is the soulmate relationship. The Two of Cups is connecting with someone where you're really on the same page. You're thinking the same, you're feeling the same. You're seeing eye to eye, you have extraordinary compatibility, and this Nine of Cups is telling you you can have that. But you have to be willing to start this new cycle and let go of the past. And that means not only just let go of the memories, but let go of the past patterns. Letting go of relationships that are no longer serving you, letting go of all the patterns that brought you to this place, and really recreating yourself. The Fool is like turning the page and having a blank page in front of you, a blank path, a new path. And if you see this card, it's about, being divinely guided and trusting your intuition to lead you to the right place. He's not even looking about, maybe in the past you got into relationships and you weren't even looking about where they were going, or how close you were to the cliff, jumping off the cliff. And so if you've gotten hurt in the past, it's because you weren't seeing the person clearly, or there were past patterns getting in the way. But that's all ending. I feel like that's ending, and you're moving into this new cycle. You just have to watch about the give and take. You don't want to be the only one doing the giving. That's the main message. Make sure not that any relationship is totally 50-50. It's never totally equal, but at least 60-40. You want to go for at least 60-40. If you can't but you don't want to go like 90-10, where you're doing all the work, you're doing all the giving, and you're getting nothing back. But I feel like you're open to the new, and you could be connecting with someone in this month that can bring more stability and take things more slow. Like maybe in the past you just jumped into something without thinking about it. This time I think you could be connecting with someone who's more stable, who you're kind of open to learning, and someone where you're going to be, I feel like you're going to be taking things slower. You're not going to be like rushing into a commitment right away. You're just going to take it slow and see where it goes. So let's see what the astrology has to say. So for you, this new moon in Aries, well, first of all, Mercury goes into Aries on the 5th. And then on the 11th, we have this new moon in your 6th house of work. So it's your work environment. So there could be a new beginning with people at work. Let's see. You've got Venus there. So as soon as Venus Venus is in Aries, it's going to be moving into Taurus. She's going to be moving into Taurus on the 15th, in the middle of the month. So you might still have some issues around work to resolve before we get to this new moon. But I think you can resolve them. Once Mercury moves into Aries, you need to speak up and communicate. Because when Mercury's in Aries, it's about speaking up. Now, be careful, though, because Mercury in Aries can sometimes blurt things out without thinking. So you don't want to just, be too assertive. You want to be assertive, you want to speak your piece, but you want to be careful that it doesn't come across as fighting or conflict, that you're not, beating someone down with your words, because Aries, Mercury in Aries can be very aggressive. And you could sound like you're fighting or you're attacking someone, even though you may not intend it to be that way. That's the way it could come out in communication. But it's good for having the courage to speak up. Mercury in Aries has the courage to speak their mind. They don't, beat around the bush. They just shoot directly. Venus in Aries is a little bit aggressive, going after what you want. Which Venus is not really comfortable doing that. It's not really comfortable in Aries. So Venus will be better for you when she moves into Taurus. And before she does that, at this new moon, she's going to square Pluto. And Pluto's in the 3rd house. So there could be some conflict or power struggle with colleagues at work, with your relatives, brothers, because the 3rd house represents brothers, sisters, people around you, your neighbors, aunts, uncles. The third house is also the house of communication. So that's why I'm saying you want to be careful. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. You have to really watch how you're communicating, and that you're not coming on too strong or being confrontational, coming across as confrontational. Because there could be some power struggles around this new moon. But there could also be a new beginning, a chance to, start a new cycle. Because there are positive things here. And you have Saturn in your 4th house, and Mercury is sextile Saturn when it moves into, it's going to be at 14 degrees Aries, and it's going to be, it actually will sextile Saturn before the new moon, and then it'll be a separating aspect. But it's a good time, Mercury sextile Saturn, it's a good time to clarify your thinking. And it's a good time to communicate with authority figures and to get serious about what you're doing and how you're planning your life. Especially Saturn's in the 4th house. You might be thinking about things around the house, family, thinking about putting down roots with Saturn in the 4th house. But also you might be thinking about some family issues. Maybe some of the problems that you're having revolve around family or relatives or brothers, sisters, and you have to work out those family patterns. I feel like there could be a family pattern issue that you need to work out. But and then Venus will be sextiling Jupiter in your 4th house. So Jupiter in the 4th house, if you're ever thinking about either buying real estate or selling real estate or finding a new place to live, a new home, Jupiter gives you that ability. Maybe your job is moving. Maybe you're going to be working from home more, or your environment at work might be changing. Now Mars is going to be in Gemini at this new moon. It's going to be it's in the 8th house. It's going to be trining Jupiter. So Mars is about, wherever Mars is in your chart is where your energy is directed. In the 8th house, it has to do with money and the support that you're getting from others. So you may really finally speak up about, like, hey, I'm not being supported. I need to be supported, and I'm not feeling supported. It could also mean that because when Mars is in the 8th house, you could be getting a loan. Maybe if you want to move to a new location or you want to buy a new house, you might need some kind of money from the bank. You might be looking for financial support. And Mars trining Jupiter is actually a positive thing. It gives you the courage to go after what you want, to get the funding that you need. But I think it's also, the 8th house is also the sign of the house of transformation. So maybe you're changing in the way you approach your goals, and you're digging deep to see where, to really look at yourself and see where you might need to look at how you're going about doing things, and maybe you need to change your approach. And I think some of the problems are stemming from family patterns. So you need to research those, it would be a good time to see a counselor to deal with those family issues. Because we're all programmed by our family, our early environment. And sometimes that programming operates without us even seeing it. And then we go, well, why is this happening to me? Because you're doing things that you don't even realize you're doing. So I think it's a good time to look into it, because the 8th house is like your house of the demons, whatever your blind spots, whatever's preventing you from manifesting, positive things in your life. And since it's connected, but Mars is trining Jupiter, so Jupiter is giving you that positive energy to go and look and solve things and to learn. Anyway, Mercury sextile Saturn is great if you're signing a partnership or signing any contract. If you have to communicate your position, it's excellent. It's a good time to speak with people in authority. Just keep in mind, what I was saying before about the way you're coming across. It's not so much your message, it's how you're delivering it. So watch your delivery. But you do have the support of Mars. You have the support of Saturn. Saturn is trining the North Node in Gemini. And that's, let's see, where is that in your chart? That's in the 8th house. So it's really time. And the 8th house is about, resources from other people, support you get from other people. If you're not feeling supported through authority figures, it's time to speak up about it and to come to terms with it. Because when Venus moves, then after this new moon, and since this new moon is in your 6th house, you can make real change in your work environment, where it turns out that, you speak up, you come to a resolution, you speak up respectfully and sincerely, and suddenly, you could make some changes. Then you have Venus moving into Taurus, which will be in your 7th house. When Venus moves into Taurus, then she's bringing love and partnership issues to the surface. So you could be forming a partnership. It could be a romantic relationship. It could be a marriage. It could be a business partnership. Venus is bringing, brings love and money wherever she goes. And in the 7th house, in Taurus, she's at home. She's operating full speed. And then Mars moves into Cancer. Mars is not that great in Cancer. I've got to say, Mars in Cancer is in your 9th house. Mars can be passive-aggressive in Cancer. It could be, not wanting to fight, not liking conflict. Because Mars is the warrior, and Cancer is the nurturer, the healer. Cancers don't like to fight, so they just avoid, They just kind of stuff it under the rug, and then, resentment builds up, and then you just explode. So Mars is not good for fighting for what you want. So when Mars is in Cancer, you might be more defensive, on the defensive. You might be less assertive when Mars is in Cancer. But then we have the full moon in Scorpio. So when the full moon in Scorpio comes, you have the moon in your 1st house, and then you're going to have the sun, Uranus, Venus, and Mercury in the 7th house. So partnership and relationship matters are going to be important at this full moon. You may find out some things. When the full moon usually, brings things to the surface, brings truths. You might find out things or get an unexpected message because you have Mercury and Venus together. With Uranus, surprise information comes to the surface. You might get a call from someone you haven't seen in a while. Someone may tell you that they like you or they're interested in you. I mean, anything could happen with Uranus. Whatever it is, it's going to be a surprise. It'll be unexpected. The last thing you expected to happen is what could happen at this time. But it's positive. I feel like it's positive because you have Venus and Mercury. So you could have, it can bring sudden love, sudden messages, sudden connections, sudden partnerships that you didn't see coming. And at this time, now that Mars is in Cancer, Mars is making an out-of-sign trine to Jupiter in the 4th house from the 9th house. So you could be traveling at this point. Mars in the 9th house, you may want to travel. When Mars gets out of the 8th house, after you deal with all your demons, then you may decide, okay, I want to go on a trip. Because the 9th house is long-distance travel. And the 9th house is also higher education, teaching, learning. So you're learning new things. You're interested in learning new things. Or you might be wanting to just get out of town. And maybe so I think you're going to have good relationship with family members because Jupiter will be in the 4th house. Saturn is going to be in the 4th house, trining the North Node in Gemini in your 8th house. So Saturn is, if you have any money issues that are coming to completion around this full moon, whatever you set in place is going to last for a long time with Saturn. I feel like there could be some positive things happening at this full moon. So especially because the moon is trining Mars and Jupiter. Mars is trining Jupiter. I just don't think you can't really plan anything with Uranus being there. Uranus is shaking up your partnerships. But because it's wanting you to break out of your comfort zone and break free of patterns and have more freedom, more air, more, so you might be attracting these unconventional types or these free spirit types. But that's not necessarily negative. I think you need to, maybe you need to break the pattern that you've always been used to in a partnership situation. So you need to find new ways of relating to someone. where you have a lot more freedom, where it's not so heavy. I feel like you're getting away from these heavy partnerships and getting into a more of a lighthearted energy. So just expect the unexpected around the full moon. That's all I can say. But I think it's going to be good. You've got the Nine of Cups here, and you've got the Two of Cups. This is wish fulfillment, so there might be some surprises. Don't try to control the outcome. Don't expect things to work out in a specific way. Just be open and let whatever flies in, fly in. And if something flies out, let it go. You're ready for the new. This month is a time of change and a fresh start. So I think that you're going to enjoy the end of April after you resolve some of the conflicts at the beginning of the month. So I hope you enjoyed this reading, Scorpio, and if you did, click on the like button, click on the subscribe button. Leave me a comment if this resonated with you. I love reading all the comments. And if you'd like a private reading, click on the link in the description box. It'll get you on my schedule, and we could schedule a reading that just deals with your specific situation. So we can go into more detail. This is a general reading. It may not apply to everyone. But in the meantime, I want to say thank you for supporting my channel. And thank you for commenting and giving me feedback. Thank you for ordering readings. I really enjoy working with all of you, and I want the best for all of you. So I hope you have a wonderful April and pleasant surprises and love. And don't be afraid of change. And just move on. Roll with the punches and move on to the new. So have a wonderful April, and I'll talk to you again next month. Okay, bye.